Somebody who's going to go full blackout mode is going to be Mike Davis when he is made acting attorney general, presumably in the next Republican administration. And I don't think there'll be an FBI left after Mike's reign of terror. The great Mike Davis joins us now. Mike, you're going to do it. I know you're going to do it. I've been following your Twitter feed. You seem pretty riled up about Donald Trump, Jack Smith, the special counsel. You've been coming on this program and preaching the power of declassification. But now it seems that they will be bringing charges against Donald Trump after interviewing the Guatemalan maids at Mar-a-Lago. Give us an update about what you think is going to happen. I'm seeing all the news reports, so I have a feeling that this is going to be happening soon.
Well, what's going to happen is what we've been talking about since August, Ben, is they're going to indict Trump for the non-crime of having his presidential records in the office of former president in Mar-a-Lago. This is allowed by the Presidential Records Act, and they may not charge him with that. They may try to charge him with obstruction of justice because apparently there's evidence that Trump had boxes moved before or after the raid.
My God.
So they're going to try to say that this is obstruction of justice. But what they're missing, Ben, is there is a memo from March of 2019. Jack Smith, who is part of the Justice Department, needs to walk over to the Office of Legal Counsel, OLC, because the Office of Legal Counsel puts out legal opinions, and those legal opinions are binding on the executive branch, including Jack Smith. And there is a March 2019 legal opinion from the Office of Legal Counsel that deals with this issue of obstruction. It is generally not legally possible to obstruct investigations into non-crimes, right? So if there is not an underlying crime that the federal government is investigating, you can't obstruct justice by interfering with those investigations into non-crimes. And so even if President Trump somehow tried to interfere with the investigation of the Mar-a-Lago investigation, what Attorney General Merrick Garland was investigating was a non-crime. It is not a crime for former presidents to take their presidential records when they leave office. That is why Congress gives former presidents office space, secure office space called SCIFs, Secret Service protection, federally funded staff, security clearances. It is specifically permitted by the Presidential Records Act that former presidents have their presidential records. And a presidential record is any document created or received by the president or his White House staff. And so if the CIA sends a document to the president or his staff, that is a presidential record. It doesn't matter whether it's classified. And we need to step back, Ben, and just remind people why this came about. Hillary Clinton, when she was Secretary of State, got caught with her illegal home server with America's most classified secrets. And this illegal home server was almost certainly hacked by our worst enemies, maybe Russia, maybe China, maybe others. And this home server almost certainly had evidence of the Clinton Foundation's illegal pay-for-play bribery schemes with foreign governments and foreign actors, right? And so when Hillary Clinton in 2016 got caught with this server, what did she do? She destroyed it in the face of a congressional subpoena, real obstruction of justice. And so what did the FBI do? The FBI actually destroyed or returned the remaining evidence, which is unbelievable. The FBI also colluded with Hillary's campaign, with President Obama, Vice President Biden, the Obama Attorney General, the Obama CIA Director, and others to concoct the Russian collusion hoax, which led to the Crossfire Hurricane investigation that hobbled President Trump for the first 3 years of his presidency. And why did the FBI do this? Well, according to the Durham report, it was to distract from Hillary Clinton's own legal troubles. And so the FBI interfered in the 2016 election. They interfered in the 2020 election by covering up Joe Biden's clear foreign corruption, his foreign bribery schemes, including whistleblower evidence at the FBI that then Vice President Joe Biden took $5 million, maybe from Ukraine, and changed American policy. This FBI is rotten to the core. It's corrupt. So that's the 2016 election that the FBI interfered with, the 2020 election that the FBI interfered with, and now they're interfering with the 2024 election because they did this unprecedented, unnecessary, unlawful home raid on former President Trump to go get back these crossfire hurricane records, that Trump declassified via presidential memo the day before he left office, but President Biden never made public. He didn't make them public. He actually sent a home raid to go get them because these crossfire hurricane records, as we're learning from the Durham report, are so damning for Obama, for Biden, for Hillary, for the deep state. And that's what this is all about. And so now they're trying to take out Trump with this indictment, part of this lawfare campaign we saw with Alvin Bragg in New York, with Fani Willis in Georgia, Jack Smith, Garland's handpicked special counsel. This is lawfare to take out Trump. And if the Biden Justice Department actually cared about classified records, why are they going after Trump for records he's allowed to have under the Presidential Records Act, and they're not going after Biden, who was absolutely not allowed to steal Obama's classified records or classified records when Biden was a senator? And there's evidence that Miranda Devine has at the New York Post that Biden actually used these stolen classified records to secure funding from Ukraine.
So what we should do, ALX, is we should just clip that from Mike and play that forever. So we just take that 5 minutes and we just take that monologue, and that's just going to be the wrap up for this. That is perfect, Mike. That's the summary of what's going on. And it makes your blood boil. It makes your skin crawl. It makes me very, very angry. And it makes me desirous of somebody who can come in there and actually break jaws on behalf of the rule of law, right? Nobody is saying, like, go after Hillary Clinton for something she didn't do or manufacture a charge against Joe Biden. That would be evil. We still have souls, at least on our side. But why not enforce the law against them? I mean, I don't think it's too big of a step to assume that they really would be wearing orange jumpsuits and breaking rocks in prison yards if you were to enforce the law against the Bidens, the Clintons, the Obamas.
There's no question that they broke the law. They Hillary Clinton had an illegal home server that was hacked, and she had this illegal home server so she can run her illegal foreign bribery scheme, her pay-for-play scheme with the Clinton Foundation. Joe Biden stole classified records, and he used these classified records to secure funding from Ukraine, illegally secure $5 million or more from Ukraine and from China and from Romania. It seems like every Biden has been paid off. They've laundered money. They have foreign corruption, tax evasion. Every Biden has been paid off, of course, except for their 4-year-old granddaughter, who these scumbag Bidens refuse to even claim. Every dirtball scumbag Biden seems to be on the Ukrainian, the Chinese, the Romanian, some other payroll except their 4-year-old granddaughter, who Joe Biden doesn't claim because he's an absolute scumbag, terrible person. But where is the FBI on this? I'll tell you where the FBI is. The FBI is actively covering up for the Clintons. The FBI is actively covering up for the Bidens. This is not a conspiracy theory. They have the whistleblower evidence. They have the documents. The FBI is refusing to turn these over to James Comer in the face of a congressional investigation. FBI Director Chris Wray, who was Trump's biggest mistake of his first term, is part of the deep state. Chris Wray was a protege of James Comey for 5 years during the Bush 43 administration. Chris Wray worked for James Comey for 5 years, right? He's covering up. Chris Wray is covering up for James Comey, the former FBI director, who is up to his eyeballs in this. Chris Wray is covering up for Andrew McCabe, the former deputy director. Chris Wray is covering up for Peter Strzok. Chris Wray is covering up for the Clintons. He's covering up for the Obamas. He's covering up for the Bidens. the Uniparty, they're all part of this. And this is not a conspiracy theory. There are documents that show this. The Durham report shows this.
Final question for you, Mike. This thread that you popped up on Twitter is, I think, particularly fascinating, as you have been right on this issue time and time and time again. What is inside of these documents that are so damning? Like, what would be your guess? I don't like asking, metaphorical questions here, but this is a massive step and also a huge risk, obviously, to the Biden administration to go do this raid and then to go bring these charges. They're walking a fine line. What is so damning in these records that were declassified that would entice this raid, especially given what we know in the Durham report, right? Like, what would we learn outside of the Durham report that's worth this massive raid on a former president's home?
Remember, on the Durham report, we saw the Crossfire hurricane investigation was completely bogus, made up to go after Trump, to try to throw the 2016 election to Hillary Clinton. It involved the FBI, and involved intel agencies, and involved the President of the United States, Obama, Vice President Joe Biden, the Attorney General for Obama, the CIA Director for Obama. They literally weaponized our justice system and our intel community to take out a presidential candidate and to protect another presidential candidate and her obvious crimes, her corruption with the Clinton Foundation, her hacked email server where our secrets were hacked. Remember, the Durham report has the unclassified version. There is also a classified version. As I've been saying since August, the whole point of this unprecedented, unnecessary, and unlawful home raid that Biden and Garland ordered after they went to a biased magistrate judge, Bruce Reinhart, who had just recused from Trump's civil lawsuit versus Hillary 6 weeks prior because he had a judicial bias. He had bashed Trump on Facebook. They went to him. This was a desperate move because they had to get back these Crossfire hurricane records that Trump declassified via presidential memo on January 19th, 2021, the day before he left office. The FBI convinced his chief of staff not to publicly release them until they did a privacy review, is what their pretext was. Well, guess what? The FBI never did the privacy review. Biden never publicly released them. And then Biden and Garland sent in this home raid to go get these documents because they're so damning. They showed the FBI, the intel agencies, broader law enforcement was weaponized in a presidential election. That is third world banana republic Marxist hellhole stuff. And that's exactly what the Democrats did in 2016, 2020, and they're doing it again in 2024 with this Jack Smith special counsel indictment that's coming up.
My God. What
Yep.
a world we have. It said taxation without representation, right? Was the rallying cry for the Revolutionary War. Because people didn't feel like their government was defending them, that they were paying a lot of money for the government to oppress them. And that's where we are today. We're paying a lot of money for the government to oppress us and not care what we have to say. I mean, we really are back at square one. Mike Davis, thank you for your fight. God bless you. You can find Mike Davis's work at Article 3 Project. This is his Twitter account. Mike, where else can people search your incredible scholarly work?
Thank you, Ben. And this is why it's critical that conservatives win this next presidential election, or we are cooked as a country. We'll lose the Supreme Court. We will lose everything. Our God-given rights to speak, associate, worship, and protect ourselves. If you think it's bad now, just wait until we lose the next election and lose the Supreme Court. It's at article3project.org, article number 3project.org. You can donate there. It's at Article 3 Project, at article number 3 Project. On Getter, Twitter, Truth, and my personal is at MRDDMIA, MRDDMIA. And thank you, Ben.
Godspeed, Mike.